Hi folks, Rodney back again with Rodney's Northwest Riding Reviews. Today I'm out at what they call Huckleberry Flats, which is an OHV area that we normally ride in. First off, I'm going to apologize up front. I've been a little under the weather, so I'm a little still a little congested, and so if I sound a little hoarse, I do apologize. But anyway, I thought this would be a great time. Come out here and play in the snow. We don't normally get a lot of snow out here, but you know, here it is. It's February, and gosh, in some places there's probably 12 inches of snow or better out here. And I thought that'd be a great opportunity for me to kind of come out and scout out the area, but then also, you know, maybe get some video of driving in the snow and let you guys know how it handles and whatnot. But anyway, first off, before I get too far into this, you guys continue to go on ahead and send me your VIN number if you have a vehicle on order, or if you put a deposit on one. Send me your VIN number. Keep in mind that if the vehicle has not been built yet, it will have a temporary VIN number. Once that vehicle gets built, it switches over to the permanent VIN number. So make sure you send me the accurate VIN number at that time, and I can check the status for you. So I have about 19,300 miles on my truck now. I've had it for what, 13, 14 months. And I thought this would be a great time to kind of give you an update and kind of a review on a long-term basis of kind of what you can expect. Now, this is a 2022 limited Crewmax TRD Off-Road. This is the gas version, it's not the hybrid. So I guess one of the things to kind of keep in mind is that, you know, in 2022, when they first came out, they had some adjustments. Well, a few people, and I say a few, a handful of people, had wastegate issues. That's obviously been solved. You don't have to worry about that any longer. There has always been some infotainment issues. And when I say infotainment, I'm talking about the stereo system to include your navigation and what have you. Now you have the option on this vehicle. I have the upgraded stereo system, so I've got the JBL audio in it, and it came standard with the built-in navigation. You get a free year subscription, and then after that you have to pay for it. So if you decide you want to go ahead and continue on with it, it's $10 a month or $100 a year. Excuse me. So anyway, my subscription rather, just ran out, and I decided I'm going to run the Apple CarPlay for a little bit just to kind of see how I like it. There is some benefits to the Apple CarPlay. I think the navigation system is probably a little more user-friendly, and if you're already used to using Google Maps on your phone, you know, it's probably a very seamless where you can go on ahead and use it on your truck, and then, you know, you're already used to it. The downfall. So here I am. I'm out, like I said, Huckleberry Flats. I'm out where there is no phone reception. And so there's no phone reception. There's no internet reception. I don't have navigation out here. I know that some people have said that, well, you can download maps and you can kind of put them into your phone ahead of time if you know you're going out there. And that's fine and good. But what if you go somewhere where, you know, just, hey, family says, hey, let's go take a road trip, and you drive 100 miles out in the middle of nowhere where you're not already familiar with, and you have no phone reception. Well, in that situation, you could kind of get caught in a position where, okay, you have no navigation. So in that situation, I think that the built-in navigation system would be better. The other thing that I've had issues with is that ever since I switched over to the Apple CarPlay, almost every day it comes up and it asks me to put in my PIN number. And quite frankly, that's a little frustrating. I know in the very beginning when I got the truck, that was an issue that would pop up all the time. But it seemed like after I did the update that kind of went away. So, you know, that's just kind of an ongoing thing. So I don't know if it's more about the Apple CarPlay or if that's just something that's popped back up and it's doing it again. I don't know. I'm going to kind of run through here, and I'm going to talk about 5 things that I hate about the truck, and then I'm going to talk about 5 things that I love about the truck. Give me just a moment to pull up my notes that I already made here. All right, so I'm going to start with the things that I hate first. I've already kind of mentioned the infotainment issues. You know, that's just kind of an ongoing thing, and there's definitely some growing pains with that. Toyota has now carried that system over into quite a few other Toyota vehicles. You know, there is some benefits. You know, you have remote start. So with the remote start, and this applies to all Tundras, you have the ability to remotely start your vehicle as long as you have phone reception anywhere you're at. You can lock and unlock the doors. It will send you notifications letting you know that you know, you've left a window down or a door's unlocked. So obviously that is the benefit to that. But anyway, mine has the 14-inch screen with the panorama view monitor. I actually love that feature. I'm going to go more into that in just a moment. It hesitates when you pull up to a stoplight. Whoops, dropped my remote here. Bear with me. So anyway, you pull up to a stoplight. As long as you come to a complete stop and you don't try to accelerate too quickly right off the bat, no issues. But let's say, for instance, you pull up to a stoplight, you see a car coming, you're like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just take a chance and let's go ahead and go. When you do that, it's like the truck wants to hesitate for 3 or 4 seconds. And I can see where that would actually be a safety issue in some points, so I'm surprised that they haven't addressed that yet. There has been an occasional situation where, you know, you go up a real steep hill or you go down a steep hill, and I've seen where the gas gauge, it's only happened to me twice, where the gas gauge will read off. And so, for instance, you drive 100 miles and it still says that you're almost completely full. And you're like, you know, I know that can't be right. So, you know, that is an issue that I've had as well. Bear with me here. Here's one that really frustrates me. So in the past, and I'm speaking of many years ago, you get in a truck, you're backing up to a trailer. Now, obviously, we didn't have the backup cameras at that time. And so when you're backing up, you open the door just kind of check your view and see how close you are to the trailer and whatnot. Well, now they built in a safety feature so that if you do that and you open the door, it will immediately lock up the brakes. I don't care for that. Now, granted, you have a lot more cameras, and of course with this, you know, this truck has 6 cameras, and so you got one in the front, you got one underneath both side view mirrors, you got your regular backup camera, but then you also have back there where the dome lights at the back, you have 2 additional cameras. So you've got one that shines out towards the trailer, you've got a second one that shines down in the bed. And so, you know, with that, you know, you've got a lot better visibility than what we had many years ago. But it's still something that's kind of frustrating if you open the door and you're not expecting it. The other thing is that mine has backup sensors on it. And so when you plug into a trailer, it automatically tells you that your backup sensors are deactivated. Now, I have a 3-rail motorcycle trailer that I haul my dirt bikes on. And so I normally will put the motorcycle in the center rail, and then I put my gas can on the left-hand rail. And I occasionally, when I'm backing up, it will actually, when you're backing up, it will sense that gas tank is there and it thinks it's an object. And so it immediately locks up the brakes. And I tell you, it's not only is it frustrating, it's a little embarrassing too as you're backing up and everything looks fine and all of a sudden your brakes lock up. So that's another thing that I hate about the truck. Okay, I think that kind of takes care of the things that I hate about the truck. Now I'm going to talk about the things that I love about the Tundra. So I had a Tacoma before. I had a 2019 and a 2021 Tacoma. And I got a 14-foot cargo trailer to haul dirt bikes and quads. With the Tacoma, not that it didn't have enough power, it just didn't handle the load very well. And so going down the highway, move here just a little bit. Going down the highway, you know, the wind would just push that trailer and truck all over the place, and it got horrible gas mileage. And so I knew that I needed to do something. So I went on ahead and upgraded to the new Tundra. Now, the Tundra is by far smoother than the Tacoma. I actually love the way the Tundra handles, love the way it rides. Now, I did put some 34-inch KO2 tires on it, and these are an E-rated tire. Now, there's definitely benefits. Normally, you know, obviously you see all the snow here, but normally these are gravel roads. And I'm up and down the gravel roads quite a bit. And so I wanted something that was a little more puncture resistant than what comes standard on the truck. Now, the Falcon Wild Peak tires, when you get the TRD Off-Road, those are a very lightweight tire. They're not very puncture resistant. They do get pretty good traction in the snow, and they actually did fairly well in the ice. But it's not something that if I was doing a lot of off-roading that I would trust. So by going to the upgraded tires, like I said, I did get some benefits. Now the downfall is that these are a much heavier tire, and with that I saw a significant decrease in fuel economy. And so before I was getting, 19 and a half, 20 miles a gallon out on the highway. When I put the tires on, I think the best that I've gotten on the highway now is about 16 miles to the gallon. And I think there's a couple of reasons. Number one, they are a heavier tire. But number two, you actually have an active air dam in the front of the truck. And so, I'm not going to trace through the snow here, but up front, anything over 40 miles an hour, that air dam folds down. So it folds down underneath the vehicle, and what it's doing is kind of pushing wind further down underneath the truck and have less wind drag. And you actually have active shutters on the front just besides the grill where your air filters are at, or your air intake is at, I should say. But anyway, by going to the taller tires, I had to put a leveling kit. I didn't have to. I think it made it look better, number one, but it kind of prevented from rubbing in the corners and stuff. But anyway, by putting a leveling kit on it, it raised that front end up about 3 inches. And so that, I think, has kind of changed the aerodynamics of the truck and has obviously, decreased the fuel economy along with the heavier tires. So one of the things that I have noticed, speaking on the fuel economy, is that running around town with these heavier tires, I actually get better fuel economy in the sport mode than what I do in the regular normal mode. Out on the highway, it's the opposite. So out on the highway, I get a little better fuel economy in the normal mode than what I do in the sport mode. I think the reason I get better fuel economy in town is based on because it is heavier. In that sport mode, the turbos will actually spool up a little bit quicker, and I'm sure it has something to do with how the waste gates are activated. But it allows it to put more turbo boost in the sport mode than what it does in the normal. So that gets your load going a little quicker, and obviously, it carries that can't even talk, I apologize. It carries that momentum. So, right around 40 miles per hour, 35 to 40, you've kind of get up to speed, back off the throttle just slightly, and what you'll notice is it will carry that momentum, and so you'll see your fuel economy jump up to like 25 to 30 miles per gallon, and it's just kind of sitting there holding that. And so that's one of the best ways that I've gotten better fuel economy around town in the sport mode as opposed to the normal mode. I also tried it towing. So like I said, I have the 14-foot cargo trailer. It doesn't weigh a lot. Loaded down, it's only about 3,500 pounds, but it is a big wind block. It's a 7x14, and it's 8 feet tall. So it's pretty tall. And like I said, it's quite the wind block. And I can see on the best I've ever gotten was 12 miles per gallon. And that was before I put the larger tires on there. Since I put the larger tires on there, the best I've ever gotten has been about 10 and a half. So you guys kind of keep that in mind if you're thinking about adding tires to a vehicle. It definitely will have some impact on how it handles, or I should say on your fuel economy. The other thing that I like, fuel economy is better than what I was getting on the Tacoma. So even with the larger tires, it's still better than what I got on the Tacoma, and you have a lot more towing capacity. Plus it handles the weight of the trailer, and the frame on these Tundras are rigid, and so it kind of prevents your trailer sway and whatnot if you get caught in the wind. The other thing that I love about the truck is a panorama view monitor. So as I mentioned, you have the front camera, you have the side view, or cameras underneath the side view mirrors, 2 on the back of the cab, and then 1 back there on the tailgate. And so when you're off-roading, and if you guys haven't seen, please check out my crawl control video, because there's some great information in that. But it is amazing what you can actually see with those cameras. The other thing is that when you're pulling into a parking space, so let's say you're going to the grocery store, and a lot of times you'll see guys in trucks, they'll back in. And some people might think, well, it's just an ego thing. No, it's not an ego thing. It is the ability to, back in there so that you can actually see. Too often than not, you go to back up. Let's say you pulled into a grocery store, you go to back up, and you just can't see. You got trucks and cars on the sides, and you can't see what's coming down those aisles, and so it makes it so much easier to be able to just pull out. Well, here with the cameras, You know, you have your blind spot monitoring, you have your rear cross traffic alert, and then you have the cameras that give you a great view, you know, anything under 10 miles an hour. So whether you're going forward or reverse, you know, it works, and it's amazing. You can actually see how close you are to the parking lines, and then see how close you are to vehicles and curbs and whatnot. So I love that feature. And then, like I said, the crawl control. Crawl control is actually very amazing. In the beginning, I'd never used a crawl control, and so I didn't know if it's really just something that just came on the truck and something I never used. But I had an opportunity to get out and use that crawl control, and that honestly was an amazing thing. It doesn't make any noise like the Tacoma and the 4Runner does, but it is something that you know, gives you ultimate traction at all times. You actually just set the type of terrain that you're going to be on, and then it maintains the speed that you set with the dial. So basically the only thing you're doing is you're steering. So that is an amazing feature as well. So I'm going to get out and I'm going to play in the snow a little bit. Hopefully I can get some video for you guys. And if you have any questions, any comments, go on ahead and send them my way. I truly love the truck. I hope, you know, by saying the things that I hate, it's not things that I would ever get rid of the truck for. It's things that I wish Toyota had done differently, and hopefully, you know, in the near future that they can get some updates and take care of those issues. So the other thing that will make a difference is, you know, anytime when you get your vehicle, if you haven't already received it, call 1-800-GO-TOYOTA anytime you have an issue. And so what that will do is that will, number one, they understand that there's an issue going on, but number two, if enough people complain about it, they'll come out with some sort of an update and get it fixed. So that will help you, but it will also help future customers as well. So let's go hit some trails.